Richard Paul Evans is one of the best guys I know. He started his writing career, really got noticed with something called the Christmas Box. He couldn't get a publisher. He tries to publish this Christmas story. Nobody was interested in it. He just copies it and starts, giving around to people for free. Just, hey, read this. And everybody started making copies. Simon & Schuster found out that the most asked about book was the Christmas box, which he hadn't published. Everybody turned down, and they called him because they're like, "You're the author of the Chris, and we hear it's just a Xerox copy. Do you want to sign a big contract with us?" And he has been writing bestsellers ever since. He's the best-selling author of the Michael Vey series, which Mercury is proud to print. He's got a new book, A Christmas Memory. He says it's his favorite book ever. Richard Paul Evans is with us. Hi, Richard. How are you?
Good morning, Glenn. Thank you for your friendship.
Yeah. It's great to have you on. Tell me about this book, because you are inspired in your writing. I don't know if that is normal for authors, that they just are inspired by something and it just kind of downloads. Tell me about this book.
Do you remember last year when I was on your radio show and I could barely talk?
Yeah.
And you're like, Rick, you're sick. I had pneumonia and I had COVID on top of it. I was very, very sick.
Yeah.
It was on the, we're talking to the hospital. It's like my friend passed away from the exact same thing a month before. And I thought, I may be done here. And I, of course, didn't let that out. But it's like, I was very sick. And I'm laying in bed, and this story starts coming to me. And Carrie brought me a notepad, and I wrote this book in bed on my back. And I thought, you know what, I just go through the exercise. The book will probably never be published, and it's probably awful. And 2 months later, when I started to recover, I read it, and I thought, this is the most powerful thing I've ever written. I was getting out my childhood. It was very vulnerable. It was very raw. And it was about a little boy and a man, an older black man who lived next door, who watched over me at a very difficult time in my family's life when my family was melting down. And you would never let a young boy go to an old man's house today, but he was just a kind man who had lots of chocolates and good advice.
Especially that. Hey, the old next door neighbor has got chocolates for you, kids. Come on over. I know it was a different world when we were growing up. Okay, so tell me Tell me a bit of the story.
Well, it takes place in 1967, and it was just when my family went through a really hard thing, and in this case, I did. The book is semi-autobiographical. There's a few things I took out. I wrote my brother was killed in Vietnam. My family melted down. We moved to Utah to an abandoned home after my dad lost his job. And that's why there's rats in Michael Vey, because the home was filled with rats and I was terrified of them. And it was an inner city school. It was a really just tough place to live. We got beaten up our first weekend there, my brothers and I. And it was just a really hard time. And even the teacher was a bully. And during
was that because, hang on just a second, is that because you have Tourette's?
Well, I was always teased because I had Tourette's. That kind of made me an outsider. Yeah. All right. But this was just a mean place. And the thing is, when my mom lived there, it was her mother's house that had been abandoned. It was like country, so it was nice back then. But moved in, it's now inner city, and it was tough. And we were just very poor. My mother locked herself in her bedroom for days, and then she attempted to take her life. I mean, it was a horrible time. And this is about the hope of a little boy who just kept going. And anyway, when I finished the book, I was sobbing. I gave it to my publisher, Simon & Schuster and Gallery, and the head of editorial called me, and she goes, Rick, I just finished your book. I was only going to read one chapter. She said, I've been just crying, ugly crying, and I can't believe the power of this book. No book has ever moved me like this. And it's just, I already had a movie offer on it, which I turned down. It's like, no, we're going to wait, because I think this book is going to be really big. And it feels like the Christmas box all over again. Things are happening, doors are opening.
So, but Christmas box never sold in pre-sales. like this one.
No.
I mean, this is your biggest selling pre-sale book, isn't it?
In my history. Oh, yeah. It's already sold enough books to hit the New York Times bestseller list multiple times. I mean, its pre-orders are off the charts. There's retailers that are already selling out of the book, and it's not even out yet.
Wow.
So there's something magical about this book. And, of course, after being on your show, it's just crazy. It's already been on Barnes & Noble bestseller list. It's been on Amazon's bestseller list in the top 100.
I'm so happy for you.
Crazy.
I'm so happy for you.
Well, it's a time of peace, and it talks about love and compassion and racism in a way that makes sense. That, the key to that is love, and it's about love.
So when you say, I spent all day crying, that's a good kind of crying, right? Because I read a lot of stuff that makes me cry all day long.
I actually looked this up. I thought, why would anyone want to cry? There's actually there's different kinds of cries. Your kind of cries are that I don't want that kind, but but there's things that move us when we see compassion just for the sake of compassion, and to believe that there's still good in people. Yeah, and
that's my favorite.
One reader said to me, it's great to see a strong male role model. I mean, there's a male role model that actually had no motive other than just being a good man with good morals and good values.
Unbelievable. Do you know what happened to him in your real life?
He passed away about 40 years ago. His name is Mr. Foster, and the book is dedicated to him.
And did you ever have the chance to say to him, thank you?
No.
Oh,
no, he was very old, and I was very young, and we actually moved out of state, and so by the time I came back, he was gone. But, you're a little kid. You never even think of that. It's when you're older, you look back and you see people who made a big difference in your life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something special that I think all of us have one of those people in our lives, and it makes a huge, huge difference. Also, you've got the Noel Diary, which is Netflix feature film, right? And it's out next week?
Yes, on Thanksgiving Day. It's my first feature film. And Carrie and I got to do something really fun. We had a red carpet walkthrough with all the stars. It's Justin Hartley from This Is Us. And it's director Charles Shire, who did Father of the Bride. He's Academy Award nominated director. And the movie's really good. You and Tanya will like it. It's really good. Carrie and I have seen it 3 times now. And just so pleased. And she kept saying, this is better than all your other movies, television movies. I go, honey, it's a feature film. It's a major budget. And Justin Hartley is just fun to look at. I mean, he's such a good actor.
Okay, that sounds a little like The Old Man Next Door with the chocolate, but I'm going to leave it alone. That's premiering as a feature film. It's called the Noel Diary on Netflix. But that is what'd you say?
On Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, Thanksgiving Day. But the Christmas Memory, A Christmas Memory, is his latest really special and extraordinary book. He's one of the best, I think, one of the best storytellers and best imaginations. Because some stuff that he has written is so inventive, but it all is rooted in truth and all rooted in something much, much deeper. And Christmas is his specialty. A Christmas Memory, available now everywhere, wherever you get your books. Richard Paul Evans, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a nice Thanksgiving, Glenn.
You too.
To you and Tom, you too.
You bet. Bye-bye.